This is Pod Populi, podcasts for the people.
Welcome back to The Cinnamon Effect. I'm Kimberly Hand, and today we have the remarkable Brad Inman in the studio, a trailblazer in journalism, entrepreneurship, and innovation. As the founder of Inman Group, he revolutionized real estate news and events, leading the charge in connecting agents with homebuyers long before digital marketing became the norm. Now he's pivoting into a new frontier, health and longevity. Motivated by a passion for living to the fullest and a commitment to making longevity science accessible to everyone, Brad is launching an exciting event that promises to demystify the secrets to a vibrant life. Welcome, Brad Inman.
Thank you for that great intro, Kimberly. And thanks for having me. It's so exciting to be. You have a great reputation in the world we live in.
Oh, that's amazing. I love that.
No, you really do.
Thank you so much for coming. And I'm so excited to talk about this new event. You have had an incredible career spanning entrepreneurship, so many different businesses. Why the pivot to longevity and health and wellness?
Well, it's really simple. I kind of sold one of my last companies and sold a couple more, and I'm investing in other things like Climate Check, which is a data company for and climate change and weather. And but I was a little bored, and but more importantly, I realized I have a great life. I have grown children. I have 5 grandchildren. I buried my parents with dignity. I raised my kids to be self-reliant. I have a wonderful, beautiful French Moroccan wife who I love dearly. And I just had everything that I could possibly dream of. And I thought, what is the one thing that could mess with this great period of my life? And it was the Grim Reaper knocking on the door. So this became just a personal journey of finding out what's out there about longevity. And, like many people, we hear and read things, we listen to podcasts, and I realized there was just an incredible amount of confusion. In my background, not just real estate, but all the media companies that I've invested or built is all about independent, credible media, providing factual information to the reader so that they can make better decisions and also participate in the disruption of industries along the way, whatever that may be. And I said, there is room for a media company here, because there were 2 extremes, Kimberly, and you know this. There were the kind of doctors and their conferences and their newsletters, and they talk a foreign language, and collectively they have very bad bedside manners in terms of communicating with the public. Plus it's sick care. At the other extreme, where I saw some charlatans and people promising things that were probably unattainable and selling products that hadn't been regulated, and that made me really nervous. And then in the middle I said, who's letting the public in on this whole revolution, particularly the average person, and who's giving them credible, independent information? So as I've done my whole career, I decided to form a media company around the whole idea of longevity. And as you know, with that comes newsletters. We have 100,000 subscribers already to our newsletters. We have podcasts. But most importantly, in this conversation, we have events where we bring real people together to do what we call peer, learning. So it's just been a great, exciting run in just a year, learning about the stuff you know all about and bringing the experts and the best people together and putting them on stage and letting the public interact with them. So big mission here, big vision. And I'm not really into that kind of stuff, but I just like to do and deliver the goods. But the big vision probably is, let's democratize the information that the billionaires have and have had for a few years. And let's give people access to that. And so I think there's a lot of things going on in society that really works perfectly for us to help do that.
Yeah.
That's it.
You seem like a guy that doesn't slow down.
Unfortunately, I don't. I wish I did. But I love life too much, and I love my work. And most importantly, this, all the companies I've been lucky enough to start and bring to fruition and success, it's all about the team. And I have a really fantastic team and many people that have worked with me in the past. My partner is Katie, a wonderful woman who is her and I worked together for 10 years doing events and media, and then other people that I've worked with. So that's one of the biggest pleasures I get, is the team I get to work with, people I've done this over and over with.
She's lovely, by the way. Katie's amazing. Yeah. Shout out to Katie, because we always give a shout out. You said, the Grim Reaper, you've got this amazing life. You sense that Grim Reaper knocking on the door.
I had a few issues that, weren't too traumatic, but, I was the nerdy journalist. I mean, my whole history is journalism. And, I'd sit in front of a computer all day. And old days, we'd go out and report on the streets. But that kind of ended with the internet. And, I didn't take care of myself. And so I got 3 stents in my heart.
Oh.
So I have to take care of this thing. But everything else that goes into this, we call it the pillars of longevity. But let's take food. I knew a long time ago that I wasn't eating well, but I had a real challenge changing my behavior. But what I've noticed in the last year, and I think my own newsletters being sent to me by a great editor, Aaron Hunter, I started taking it seriously. And I notice now, finally, I'm 72, Kimberly. Finally, I'm eating more vegetables and more fruit than I am pizzas and all the other stuff that I ate my whole life. So, and one thing we really want to send a message to is younger people, and I think they're smarter and more sophisticated about all this. I know my kids are, and even my grandkids they eat better than we did. But, this is the time, even for young people, to take command of their life and, things like movement and nutrition, all the things we know. But it's almost as if there's so much confusion around it. Like people are given 10 different ways of looking at eating, from fasting to, more vegetables, more plant-based, more protein. I mean, which is it? And so I think there's a real revolution going on that we want to help people kind of, commandeer.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, to demystify the health and wellness game. Because I know, even from doing this podcast, people are always asking, they're saying, but what about this? But someone says this and someone says that. So what are your tips for helping people that are, you are giving access to it through the event, but
Yep.
For people to decipher your journalism mind, how should they cut through that noise to get to some real answers?
Well, I think like what you're doing, Kimberly, more people should watch you.
I love that.
Yeah, I really believe that. I think it's finding people that you identify with, like you clearly motivated, particularly with your story and your history, a lot of young women. And I think finding those sources of information that have credibility. And I would say once you find them, make sure they're disclosing their conflicts. Like at our company, we don't sell products. None of our staff can buy stocks in these health companies. We're not compromised, meaning no one could pay us to be on stage. No one could pay us to be in the news hole. We have advertisers, but we're very, public about that. So I would say to anyone that's trying to explore this kind of confusing state, and I would say it's not a bad confusion, it's innovation. That's why there's so much change and it's happening so rapidly. It's hard to keep up with it. But find sources that you relate to that are speaking to you and your needs and whoever you are, men, women, young, old. And then make sure you find out what conflicts they may have. So if they're peddling a supplement, but not disclosing that they're making money off it, or affiliate links, whatever that may be, find out so you know. And that would be the first thing. Find sources of media that can help sort it through. And those can be podcasts. Clearly, there's a lot of great podcasters out there in this area. It can be newsletters and it can be events. And take it all in. Don't react. Don't jump on the latest trend. Take some time to study it. AI is getting better and better at deciphering some of this information for us, but there again, it's the internet, so you have to be very careful.
The Wild West sometimes.
The Wild West, yeah. The second Wild West is AI, right?
Yeah.
It's like space exploration.
It is. It's incredible. Just the advances with that. When you mentioned your age, 72. What is your advice for people that are, they think I've been eating pizza, 3 times a week my entire life and I'm okay. What is your advice for helping them kind of shift their habits?
Well, what I've noticed
as they age,
and again, I think it was 25 years ago, a dear friend of mine told me, I think I would have known, I was so busy, but the basic food groups, and then you need to get, it's pretty simple, and it was pretty good advice, but, and I would try it, but I noticed one thing, the things that filled me up are the things that were bad for me. And versus now, I cooked this morning some asparagus and I ate it with blueberries and it filled me up. So I didn't need to go to the diner in Palm Beach and order pancakes or steak and eggs or one of the ridiculous things I might do. And I think everyone says this, but for me, what's worked recently is just every time I'm hungry, trying to use a healthy alternative. And the problem again in this field is what they tell you in the grocery line, particularly in the USA. I live in Paris about half the time, and there they're regulated. They can't sell this stuff. But here, everything is being pitched to you as if it's healthy, and it's not.
Yeah.
But I think just replacing it with fruits and vegetables, I'm doing now in the last couple of years, and it's changed my diet dramatically, where I'm filled up on something healthy. Now, do I always mind my own advice? No, I break the rules, but I think you forgive yourself and keep moving on. I don't think any of us should become robots or crazed health freaks and live life and enjoy life, but try to integrate a change in your life.
Yes, I teeter on that, where I feel like I'm being too strict or too rigid, and then it's affecting my mental health, my mindset, and I'm like, oh, I'm restricting myself, and then I want to just eat an entire gluten-free cake, but still,
Totally. Give me some cookies.
Go off the rails and do something else.
I do. I mean, but we got to do it less and less, I think.
Yes.
Particularly at my age, where there's damage done, and I just, the body has an amazing ability to heal itself if you treat it with some respect.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Set the stage for me with this event. You planned amazing events all over the country in the real estate field.
Yeah.
So did you translate any of that, what you had done in that space?
And done events in a lot of different industries, because I started companies in ebooks and video and all kinds of things. But the first and foremost thing we are known for is producing high quality, high production value. It sounds simple, but people slap these conferences together because they think they can make money, and they have not really thought through that very issue. Like, start on time, have the lighting done properly, know how to greet people, know how to facilitate conversations, choreographing a mix of fun and serious. A lot of different dimensions. As someone said to me a long time ago when I did my first event, an event is 1,000 details. So you have to have people that know how to do that really well. And we do. I mean, Katie's is a great example. Another colleague, Deirdre, they have been doing this with me a long time. And so that's the first thing. When you attend an intimate event, you're going to have a good experience. You're not going to wait in line. You're going to be treated with respect. You're going to get a good seat. You're going to be able to hear. You're going to be able to interact with the audience. And then the second thing for us is this mix of fun and serious. We choreograph an agenda where people get a little bit of this and a little bit of that. They get to stand up and move around. They get to converse with each other. I mean, we have at this event in particular, it's limited to 200 people. We have some unbelievable people in the audience. So we really believe in peer-to-peer learning, because it's where a lot of us get our information. We also believe in wisdom of crowds, that often the collective wisdom of a group of people is greater than any so-called expert. And we also know that people come with a lot on their minds. And it's interesting. There's a lot of studies on event planning. And one of the conclusions is that people come with about 5 questions. So you have to figure out what those 5 are, and you have to make sure they get those 5 questions answered. And then with interaction, we found, and there's research behind this as well, that they love when other people ask questions, because there's a good chance they're their representative asking their question. And then they like what we do, which is rigorous interviewing by journalists. We don't let these people off the hook. And what I always say, I am there for the woman that drove from, Fort Lauderdale on that awful freeway to get there and get there on time. And I represent her, not the big shot speakers. I love the big shot speakers, but I'm not there for them. I'm there for the customer. So when those kind of values are integrated to everything you do, high production value, interaction, and knowing who your customer is and making sure you disclose conflicts so people aren't sold a bill of goods, then the likelihood is you have a really good event. And we tested it a year ago, and it was overwhelming. We sold out, and it was really successful. And now we're experimenting with all kinds of different ways.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's going to be exciting.
It will be. And fun. They're always fun.
Fun.
And people always leave our events, no matter what the subject, no matter how bad the housing market, or in this case, how bad, your health may be, or who you're worried about. You leave feeling good about yourself, and you have new connections and relationships that, are likely to last a lifetime.
Are there movement components to the
There
event?
are. We
Okay.
do all kinds of, uh, I've been the guinea pig for this and I don't want to compare myself to Howard Hughes, but I don't know if you know the story. Howard Hughes would never allow, he was kind of the Elon Musk of the last couple generations, and he would never let a young test pilot his planes that he, created for the government, because he was quite an innovator in all kinds of categories, very much like Elon Musk. And he tested himself. And so he, got injured a lot, but he was the guinea pig. So I say the same thing. I'm trying everything, Kimberly. I mean, I'm careful, but I'm trying everything that you read about to see whether these things, really make sense. And then sharing that information. And then through that, learning who the speakers might be and who the experts might be. Anyway, I'm 72. Did I get off your core question there?
No,
Kimberly?
no.
Tell me.
But now I'm intrigued. Like, what kind of things are you trying?
Well,
you have access to a lot of things.
Yeah, the diet stuff I did. I mean, the good news here is we democratize this. There are 90% of the things you can do don't cost any money. And then there's all of these new things. So let's put aside movement. I'm a swimmer because I've learned that the only exercise you get when your body's completely suspended, not touching or physical, other than being in outer space, I guess they're, suspended, is swimming. And I swim in the sea. So those are the kind of things that, I really believe in. But what we're doing at the event is we're having all kinds of things. So in my testing, I got a Chinese healer, because I'm trying everything. Established medicine, got great doctors at NYU and elsewhere in Europe, but I have a Chinese healer. And so guess what? Dr. Betty, who's a little 4 feet 1 inch dynamo of a woman, who's had 40 years experience in Chinese medicine, is going to do a demonstration and then allow people to participate. We have one of the best Tai Chi experts who's going to, you sit there and you listen, you got to move.
Yes.
So we get people to jump up, and they all do. And then we have this couple out of Fort Lauderdale who are just Boca Raton, that they have a special program for people over 60 and a workout routine. And they're going to do that during the middle of this. And then in the morning of the second day, we have like 7 different things, from swimming with Brad in the ocean to walks to meditation to Tai Chi. And then throughout it, we have surprises where people get to move. So there's a lot of physical movement. And the diet concern, we have Michael Greger, who is unbelievable on nutrition. And he's going to give his classic 45-minute presentation on Saturday. But the night before, he's going to construct a diet, a particular one for when you go out and when you're at home. And then we have a chef from the Palm House who's quite famous. And he is going to take the ingredients and he's going to go back into the kitchen. And then at the cocktail reception, we're going to serve our appetizers, or the food that the two of them created together. And then we have a famous bartender who has 5, he's a mixologist, and he's got 5 mocktails for the 5 pillars of longevity. And then for those that want to drink, we'll have vodka.
Pouring it in there.
So anyway, those are just some, and by the way, then there's a dozen, if not more, really serious people talking about these innovations. And I think that's the important thing here. So you got the basics, you got nutrition, you got movement, you got sleep, you got relationships, you got socialization. But then the science, we're big into that. Mm-hmm. And because our background is the tech world, is we're big into all of the innovations. Because what people want to know is, one, what's here now, but they really want to know what's around the bend. When's the magic pill for cancer? When's the magic? Is that bullshit? And are these people saying it and working on it? Is it true? And so we're going to tell people what's ahead and what's around the bend. So in the testing, the diagnostics, the treatments, so you'll know what's coming. So as you plan your own, attempt to avoid the Grim Reaper, what might be there to save your life before it ends. And so it's that combination of, those 5 pillars, which are basically things you can do yourself. And then all the science. We got some incredible entrepreneurs coming from the Silicon Valley. And some fun things too. We have a woman who is super bright woman who came from her family from the home building industry from California. And she's also been a banker, but now she's in the longevity. She has a longevity fund raising money for entrepreneurs. And because she knows real estate, I said, we should talk about where you're going to send mom, when mom's too old to stay at home.
Yeah.
So a whole thing's going to be about where to send mom. And we call it that, meaning what are the alternatives as you get old? And then more importantly, maybe for some people is where am I going?
Yes.
Because all of this starts to collapse on people and we're only given a couple avenues. And actually there's a whole bunch of innovative things around that people don't know about.
So interesting. Yeah. The aging aspect of it. And, I saw my mother-in-law care for her parents and what that did to her life and her priorities. And so I think that'll be really interesting to dive into that.
There's so much here, the challenge is what do you focus on? But we try to stick to the core there.
Yeah, stick to the core of why Palm Beach? Why did you choose Palm Beach?
Well, I always put my companies where I live. So I had an ebook company in New York because I lived there. And I don't be selfish. It's just, you've got an idea when you're having breakfast or taking a shower and you go out and do it. And then you work on it in your home and then you get an office and you get it nearby. So it's just the way it works, And then I was, in the Bay Area. But I came to Florida 7 years ago, my wife Yaz and I, and we discovered that, wow, we biked all over because we learned about areas by biking. We bike everywhere.
I love that.
And that's how we discover places. And what we found is this incredible history of the Fountain of Youth and health clinics. And, we would bike down Dixie and you take the off roads and there's this health clinic and this. And we said, wow, this is the place that a lot of these good ideas and crazy ideas happen.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought, let's just do it here. And, the early adopters here, Kimberly, are, it is high net worth. And we say early adopters, meaning people like the billionaires started it, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then there's a next level and a next level and next level until the mainstream public gets a chance at learning all about this. And so our audience, interestingly, is 70% women. It's around 50 to 70. Now, not everybody. There's people that are 85. Mm-hmm. No real wheelchairs. And there are some younger people. And they're high net worth. And so we think that's the early adopter. So we're really focused on women's health big time in this event. And so that's the group we're speaking to. And Palm Beach, demographically, that's kind of perfect.
Yeah.
And then the island is the island, not everyone has to live on the island, but it's a special place.
It's beautiful.
And the Palm House just opened and we really like the vibe. I go in there, I get chills because I've done events so long and, I've done them in warehouses. I've done them outside. I've done retreats. I've done them in big convention centers, but this has a really good vibe. I'm not sure about hanging out there, but I do know it has a great vibe where we're meeting in that hotel. So it kind of reinforces, the setting reinforces what we're all about. So put all that together and Palm Beach seemed perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
I'm born and raised here. I love it. I think, I took my
You
first...
look like it. You look so healthy.
Do I?
Yes.
I took my first yoga class in 1998.
No.
A Bikram yoga class. I was 18 and I brought my bottle of water in there and I knocked it over in the first 2 minutes of yoga. And I thought, I'm going to die in this room because I have no water. Do you still do
yoga every morning?
Not every morning.
Yeah.
Not every morning. Now as a mom, my morning has shifted a little bit, but I still love yoga. But that was just one thing, before it was cool, doing those wellness things. Yeah, it was very early. But I was a dancer, so it made sense to me,
Well, that's why you look so healthy.
Oh,
in our tagline, it's look good, feel better, live long.
Mm-hmm.
And I was against putting look good. And then I realized when I saw, we learned so much from that first event, which is one reason we did it, to learn about the customer. And they all look so healthy like you, and they look so well and vibrant. And we realized, yeah, sure, maybe 70% is vanity, but 30% is, taking care of yourself, shows in your face and how you look and how you feel. And so we added look good, and my team, particularly the younger members, said, you got to add this, Brad. It's part of the whole.
Yeah, I think people may want to say that I don't care about the looking good part, but you do want to look healthy. You want to look vibrant, So I think you're spot on with that.
Yeah, I dress up. People see me in Palm Beach. Part of me of doing that is to, as my mother used to say, you dress up not to show off. You dress up to show respect for others. So, fashion's part of that. That's not part of our program, but it kind of fits.
Yeah, I like that. Well, truth be told, you came in here and you had a top hat on.
Yeah,
when you came in.
It's an interesting hat. It's Vivienne Westwood from the early 1990s. I obsess on hats, and I have quite a collection, and I move from trend to trend. When someone, like I got into bucket hats a few years ago, then everyone started wearing them, so I try to stay ahead of the curve. So these are Vivienne Westwood from the early 90s. They're vintage. I have 6 colors for different outfits, and I wore my blue one today.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
And if you come to the event, I'll wear it there.
I think you should. Super fun. So I know that you were talking about trying different things and this kind of merging of the pillars of health, which are accessible to everybody, but then also this technology that's happening. And I know you did the Preventive full body scan.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious to hear your feedback on that, how your experience was, and what you do with the information that you get going forward.
Great question. I did the early full body done by an outfit out of New York about 5 or 6 years ago. And it was in a hospital. It was in a basement. It was scary. There was tons of people. I had to walk through these, hallways and, because they weren't taking this very seriously back then. But it was a company that, I guess had rented space from there. And the machine was old. It felt like it was suffocating. It was hot. And I never forgot that. And I thought, well, I'm not going to do that again. But then Preventive came out, and a good friend of mine in the Silicon Valley knew the founder and said, you got to go check it out. So I went. And it was like entering an Apple store. So they overcame, that, again, sick care. I felt like when I did it the first time, the old school, that I was involved in sick care. I was in a hospital, not healthcare, not prevention.
Yes.
So it was like an Apple store. And then they had a headset, and you could watch, movies, and you could listen to music, and the machine was newer and brighter. And so everything seemed kind of perfect in a way. And it was very easy to do. After an hour and 30 minutes, I hit the button, I'm done. You sit an hour and 15. And so they didn't need one more little layer on my body. And then within, they're very nice. Goodbye. Here's the procedure. And I'm kind of one of those people that I guess I know only old school medicine. I want to be taken care of. And here was a little bit of DIY. You're on your own. So bye-bye. And then I get the report. And then they had some follow-up, but it felt like fine print. And by the way, I've told the founders of the company this, so this is nothing new. And then I got the report, and it was thick and full of stuff and things that, were scary and not too scary, like something like cancer. And then I didn't know what to do with it. I sent it to my daughter-in-law, who's a renowned doctor in San Francisco with UCSF, very successful woman. And she was like, Brad, what are you doing? And then my doctor, wonderful doctor, Dr. Rockland at NYU, who I love to death and has taken care of me for years, and my wife Yas, he goes, what is this? So the reaction to it was over testing.
Yes.
So I was kind of dealing with that. They both looked it over. They weren't surprised. One, my daughter-in-law, know her well. She's been around her for years and years. And my doctor knows me well. So there was nothing in it that really surprised them. But the follow-up, there's a big gap here. We have all this innovation, all this cool stuff. It's like AI. We have all these applications. But we're all asking ourselves, well, what do we do with it?
Exactly.
Like it's woven into my email, but what next? So anytime there's a wave of innovation, there's a lot of broken things and confusion. So again, this isn't a criticism of Preventive. And then, my wife did it, and this was the one that really kind of shook us up. They detected, they didn't detect. She had a clean bill of health, but then for another reason, because she had headaches in France, she had a test, and they found a small growth in her brain. And we all freaked out, and we all flipped out, and we all went crazy, only to find out that it was small. It was also in the part of the brain that was protected.
Okay.
And all she had to do is go back several times over the course of the last year and discover it wasn't growing. So we all had probably, for her particularly, the health hazard of the stress was probably worse than this small aneurysm. And then we went back to Preventive and said, how did you miss it?
Oh, wow.
And then we challenged them, and of course they found it. And they had missed it. So this can happen in any field. The best doctors in the world can miss something. So these things are not perfect. I'm into transparency. As I like to say, Kimberly, we talk about what's in outer space, and then what's under the sea. I didn't know beans about my own body. Like, guess what? I have a high concentration of lead. You know, it's kind of like herpes. Everybody gets herpes. Everyone has lead, I learned. You know, if you're my age, because you were around a place in your childhood before it was regulated. So, but when you read, oh my God, I'm going to die of lead poisoning, you're probably not. So that last mile, that necessary, having really good physicians and others. So that was my experience with Preventive. And I'm very transparent because I'm trying to give this to the public, and I don't need to protect anybody. And again, I respect what they're doing, but you know, my new products, like in ebooks, my first product wasn't perfect. You know, our first real estate conference wasn't perfect. So I don't put this on the innovators. I just think the public needs to know. And that's our mission.
And use it as a tool, you know, a tool in your wellness journey.
Absolutely.
I had this conversation the other day, and I brought it up to you as well, is at what point are we doing too much to where it's affecting your mental health and you're worried about everything? You know, and what is that going to do to you, being worried going forward? I
think this obsession, like where I live in Paris, our friends are extremely healthy except for smoking. Even one of my doctors smokes. You know, that's like the old
like
school.
What?
And they know it, but they just live a healthy life, and they also have a very philosophical thing about death. Of like, they're not into all these things. It's such an American phenomenon now, and they also regulate all the things we don't, like pharmaceutical companies and medical care, and they provide free health care. I mean, they're into this without having to be involved in the newest revolution in longevity, and they do all the testing. And so I do think that's part of this is do this to live longer, but unless it's your inclination to be a little crazy, don't carry this to the nth extreme. Actually go enjoy your life. You know, learn what to do as much as you can. Don't beat yourself up for not doing it all unless you're some wacko perfectionist. And then you'll probably live a longer, happier life. You know, anxiety, we added feel better. And that for us is a big idea. It's from the anxiety that I saw in my children, my grandchildren over COVID. It's from those kind of things where suddenly more people than ever are afraid of flying, not because of hazard, just because of anxiety. They're afraid of taking elevators. I mean, there's a lot of what I'll call not minor, but anxiety around things that these poor people should not suffer from. And then there's mental illness. So we added feel better for that very reason, like your emotional well-being. So if you get too into this and learn too much about yourself that you don't really maybe need to know, or maybe is misdiagnosed, you know, there's a trade-off here, and your mental health should not suffer. So you're right on. By the way, have we told anybody that our conference, you're coming?
Oh, I'm going to be there. I know.
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited too.
You have an adoring fan base, and so we're really excited.
Oh, I'm so excited. This has been like so amazing. I love, I can't wait to be a part of it. It's, we should talk about the details of it too. March 28th and 29th?
Correct.
Yes. Live Long Summit.
That's correct.
And we're going to have a link in the show notes, a code. What do we decide on the code?
Well, it'll be I think it's hype. We were gonna put cinnamon in there, but I said it's too many syllables to remember.
It's a lot, you know.
And hype, it's HYPE, right?
Hype.
It's one of those 4-letter words which are always like love, you know.
Yes.
So yes, and people get a discount. So
yeah, so that'll be great.
Yeah.
It's a 2-day event. Starts in the evening on the 28th.
Yeah,
correct?
It's kind of a strange thing. We start at 4, you know, giving people time to get off work. It's on the weekend we do have a professional crowd. There are a lot of doctors come, young doctors and medical professionals who are tired of the old way. They're tired of stamping out patients every 15 minutes for some health group. You know, they didn't get into this to stamp out patients in 15 minutes. They got into this because they believe in medical care. Yeah. And so we have about 20%, which is great for everybody else because you may be sitting next to a great doctor. So we attract
Strategically, did you try and invite
what happened
doctors,
is they
no?
showed up at our first event, and we can't
Oh,
say you
okay.
can't come because you're a doctor.
Right.
But we
welcome them.
and then we noticed it created a really cool thing in this peer-to-peer learning, where someone stands up, well, I'm a doctor. Like we had a doctor at our event a year ago, and he stood up and said, I am so sick and tired. I went to medical school and did all of this and sacrificed so much. And this is the direction we all want to go, because they're trying to figure out how to integrate longevity into sick care and, these clinics. And the clinics, the insurance companies, they're not, unfortunately, not buying it. They need to. I think maybe our new head of health and who knows, the new administration might start hammering them, because he apparently believes in it if he gets confirmed. RFK Jr. We'll have the reception around 7 o'clock.
Okay.
People get out of the house at 8. They come at 7. Some are staying, in the hotel or in hotels around the area that are coming from out of town. And then we have all the health activities in the morning. And then we have, this incredible Mark Hyman coming, who's giving a big presentation. Michael Greger, big presentation. Some other innovative, scientists and technologists giving presentations, all interactive, all Q&A. And then
I love
all
that.
after,
So you really get a chance to get your questions answered.
Premium. In fact, we'll open by asking people, what did you eat for breakfast this morning?
Yeah.
What was your movement this morning? You start getting, my goal at every conference is to meet every single person that attends. And my goal here, which is lofty, is to get all 200 people to meet each other.
Great.
We probably won't get there, but the point is there's so much to learn from each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Dr. Mark Hyman is one of my personal favorites.
Unbelievable.
I think he's done a great job of being able to translate it down for most people. You even just see what he's presenting on social media and really trying to translate it down for the audience.
Yeah.
And get them to understand it. So I think he's a great person to have.
Well, I saw him say the other day, a teaspoon of olive oil.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I got that covered. I'm married to a Moroccan woman. She puts olive oil in everything, But he also said, raw, not cooked, different, so there's so much to say. But he goes from there to the whole biomarker thing. And so his range of knowledge and information is so powerful. And we have him for an hour and a lot of Q&A, and he's there all day. People get to meet him. He's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's great.
Pioneer.
Yeah, pioneer for sure. He was doing it before. I have a bunch of his books.
Yeah, we love him.
I'll bring them and get an autograph.
Yeah. Oh, people, they actually treat him like he's like a celebrity chef or a celebrity realtor. He's a celebrity longevity guru.
What is ahead in the future for you?
I'm not a big on 10-year plans or any of that. The only habit I have is at the beginning of the year, Senior George Bush used to do. He wrote 3 things down that he wanted to accomplish that year, and then he read them every day. And I've been doing that 20 years, and that works. So, a year ahead is about as far as I can go. Yeah. And even 3 months, and let's get through this event and do everything you do it well, and everything comes to you. Like I found financially, if I created a really credible media companies, it wasn't my desire to make money, but guess what? You make money. If you obsess on money, I think you probably shouldn't be doing that. So money's not part of it. Meeting my great grandchildren, those would be cool things. My wife she taught me don't take yourself so seriously, Brad, and give more than you take to your partner. Those simple things. So I just practice that. I think that's my future, is getting better at these things that I wasn't always so great at.
Yeah, still striving to be the best person you can be.
Yeah. And one of the things I learned over the period of my life, you try to do too much, you do nothing well. So stay focused on one thing at a time. So, So get through this event.
Yeah.
And have Kimberly on stage.
Yeah. I would be my complete honor.
Yeah.
I need to ask though, with someone of your stature in business, what are some keys to success? I know that seems like what has made you successful as well, what you just mentioned, but are there any things for entrepreneurs, people that are going after that dream?
Yeah. And this sounds like 2 answers to the same question I ask myself. It's like, to an entrepreneur, never give up. If you look at Elon Musk, you read about, what he did with Tesla, amazing story. revolutionized cars in a way that everyone talked about. It never happened by the big three. But he never gave up. That's one of his characteristics, is just absolute tenacity. But also, as an entrepreneur, know when to actually throw the product. We used to call it throw grandmother off the boat, which is a not kind way of saying, I know you love your grandmother and you would never do it, but you sometime have to move from something that isn't working. And it's hard for an entrepreneur to do that because we are so passionate about what we do. So that's my advice to them. For people on stage, I'll just give you a simple one. People on stage is put your right foot forward so you're in the ready position. Make sure you're nervous, because nervousness actually gives you energy. Like I was nervous here. I've done this, these kind of things my whole life. But if you're not nervous, don't get on stage, because I always tell people that, do that. And then, hard work always served me well. I'm sorry it's not, I outworked everybody. Yeah. Was it worth it? Yeah, because as a parent, our duty was our children to be self-reliant, not to be our best friend. And I had the philosophy, if I live my life, and not my children's life, they'll probably be better off. So that's been a philosophy of mine. It still is, like, live my life. Now, that doesn't mean selfish. That doesn't mean you can't show up for practice. It just maybe don't make your children your life. Yeah. It doesn't mean you're not connected. It's like my daughter said, yeah, Dad, you live that way for sure. She said, my friends are texting their mother 20 times a day. And you didn't know my first semester in college, I went to Mexico for 2 weeks. So I don't know. There's probably a middle ground here, but so there's some other things. In business, I just think always remember you got to have more checks than bills, and just make sure there's more checks in this hand than there are bills in the left hand. And then hire slow, fire fast. Okay. People that are not suited for the job, it's hard to tell someone that, but they probably want to leave too. But take time when you hire. Always hire people that are smarter than you. When you start out, you think you're so smart and you have all the answers. You often don't do that. Don't hire family and friends. Don't partner with family and friends. Don't raise money.
Don't ever.
No, it never works.
Okay.
And it maybe works, but I don't think it works. Okay. So I have a long list of things like that.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I love that. You're a wealth of knowledge. You're amazing, Brad.
Oh, you're so sweet.
I'm so happy to connect with you. This was
Absolutely.
amazing.
Should we show people my hat?
Yeah.
Is it okay if I get off stage?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe, again, this is Vivian. And this
Travis
is about,
will deliver the hat.
This is about enjoying life, because if you're not enjoying life, you're probably not going to live very long.
I totally agree. I love this Vivian Westwood hat. Shout out. I love the shape of it. Yeah. Is it like a particular shape for a reason?
She's not around anymore, so I don't know. But I think she long before a lot of these took off, she was building them a long time ago. But here's the interesting thing: we're talking about innovation. See the rim in the hat? It's cushy. I have a big head, so finding the right hat size is very difficult. And people with small heads have a hard time. Is it 63 for me? 62. But she engineered this with this cushion. So guess what? This hat fits anybody.
Wow.
So this is an example of innovation, which is a big part of longevity and having fun.
I love it.
Yeah.
Brad, you're so fun.
Oh, you're the best.
Okay, so come see us. I can say that, safe to say, at the Live Long Summit.
We're going to be on stage.
March 28th and 29th. And tickets will be in the show notes, a link for that. And thank you so much for being here today,
You're
Brad.
the best. I love you.
Oh, you're the best.
Okay.
You're the best. Come back.
I'll be back.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of The Cinnamon Effect. If you loved it, please share it with somebody. Rate, review it, and helps us out. Thank you so much. See you next time.